In this segment, we're going to look at the myth of spiritual job titles. We're going to talk about breaking free of the hierarchy between church work and market work. Now, let me get this clear. Titles are important. However, what I've noticed is that titles sometimes become a place of comparison, not for the sake of contribution, but the sake of saying that I have not arrived or some type of status quo, but not contribution. And titles are important. However, when titles become a place of comparison so that someone can feel like they are higher than, then those titles are not being useful. And that's what I've seen in talking with other Christians. That's why they go to work Monday through Friday and they are feeling guilty. They're feeling like they have not arrived because they are not doing the real work, quote unquote. And the real work that most Christians define is that they're doing some kind of church work, they're doing some kind of missionary work or vocational Christian work. I don't know, but I know that that is hindering Christians from releasing their value in the marketplace. We're going to talk about breaking free of church work and marketplace work. And we're going to just talk about work as Christians. Before we go further, I want us to take a look at Ephesians chapter 4. And this is where Paul talks about the different gifts that God has given to the body for the equipping of the saints. Ephesians chapter 4, Paul says it here, verse 11. And he gave some apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come in the unity of faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. But speaking the truth in love, may grow up into him all things, which is the head, even Christ, from whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplied according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, make it increase of the body unto the edifying itself in love. This is Paul talking about the various gifts and titles that Christ gave to the body in order for the body to grow so that the body can can work out the ministry, that the body can be equipped to go and do the ministry work. And we already know what the ministry work is. The ministry work is being ambassadors from Christ, going out and making disciples as we look at Matthew chapter 28. And as we look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 18 through 21, God has entrusted us with the ministry of reconciliation. That means drawing men and women to God. He's entrusted that ministry to us. And in order for that ministry to go forth, we as the church need to be equipped to go out and do that. And so God gave these specific roles to the body in order for it to be equipped so that the work of ministry can go forward. However, what has happened is that most people in our day and age, they see that the real work quote unquote, the real work is the church work. It is the equipping work. But that's not that those are just different work. Some work is to equip, some work is to carry out the work. And I believe that we have a great opportunity in the marketplace to carry out that work. And we got a great opportunity in the church to equip the saints for the work of ministry in the marketplace, where we're spending 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week in the marketplace. And so I want to say to you, CEO, executive, business owner, or whoever you may be in the marketplace, your work as a Christian is not less important than your pastor. It's not less important than the vocational missionary um, on the mission field in a different country, right? Your work is important. It's just different. I just want you to say that to understand that your work is just different. It's not less important. And remember this, get this principle down. We're different to make a difference. If 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 the pastor, the teacher, the apostle, the prophet, all of those people were not carrying out their function, then the church could not be equipped to carry out the work of the ministry. And guess what? If it was just pastors, teachers, prophets, apostles, and there is no other saints to carry out the work of the ministry, then their work will be in vain. And so the two are important. Both jobs are important. They're just different. And so what I want you to do is to take off the lens of comparison for the sake of feeling like you don't arrive. If you're going to compare with this in mind. You need to compare so that you can show up differently. You compare so that you can know how you are called to contribute uniquely. Comparison is not bad if it leads you to the right contribution. And we see here in Ephesians chapter 4, there is a comparison. There's a comparison between the apostle, the pastor, the evangelist, the prophet, the teacher. All of those are different gifts that Christ gave to the body. And they need to compare in order for them to understand how they are called to contribute. And likewise, if you don't have any of those roles or those titles, you need to understand your role, your position, so that you can contribute at a high level. This is what it's about. I want to turn your attention to just some testimonies that I've heard of people really identifying their calling in the marketplace. Now, I wanted to take a short break from the podcast to share with you an exciting resource that we put together. It's called 5 Steps to Discovering Your Unique Book Idea. Now, this is put together for Christians and by a Christian. My goal with this is to help you increase your impact, your income, and influence by glorifying God and creating value for other people. And I also know that it'll help fuel your mission in the marketplace. So go ahead in the description, download this free copy and start using it. I have talked to so many Christians who want to write a book, who want to have an impact, and this is your opportunity to do that. I want to turn your attention to just some testimonies that I've heard of people really identifying their calling in the marketplace. For example, if you have eaten at Chick-fil-A, you know Truett Cathy. He was a man who understood his calling in the marketplace. And now Chick-fil-A is a $1 billion company. It's making an impact worldwide because Truett Cathy understood his calling in the marketplace. And guess what? He made a difference. And his legacy is still moving forward today. He's still making an impact right now today, even though he's passed on. His work is still going forward. And most of his work was in the marketplace, and that is great. Now, you should also know that he did not neglect to serve the body of Christ inside the church. He was a huge proponent of the fellowship of the saints. He even taught Sunday school. But he did not allow his work on Sunday as a Sunday school teacher to hinder him from his 9 to 5 ministry work in the marketplace. And so that's what I want to share with you, is that I want you as a Christian, if you're in the marketplace and you're comparing yourself to your pastor, comparing yourself to someone who's working in vocational missionary work, then I want you to understand that you need to change your perspective. You need to understand that you have value, that God is giving you to work, to carry out the work of the ministry in the marketplace. And if you go back to the first episode in this series, I talked about how we are called to be a light in the dark place. You may be the only Christian in the marketplace, and your usefulness has increased 1,000-fold because you're needed. God has you where you are. You don't need to go and get a seminary degree. You may just need to go and get an MBA so that you can increase your effectiveness in the marketplace. Right? What if that is the next calling? Not to go get a seminary degree, but to get a business degree, because I want to carry out my ministry work in the marketplace at a higher level. Go get that degree. You may say, I want to become a physician because I know that there is work for God is calling me to in the medical field. So you're going to pursue getting your degree, becoming a doctor so that you can have your specific impact in that medical field. That's beautiful. What if Christians are saying, man, I need to go get a business degree. I need to go make sure I become a physician. I need to go get this degree so that I can show up in the marketplace to serve God effectively. That's my hope. That's my hope, that you will see your calling as that important that you're going to go get a degree so that you can be more effective in your role in the marketplace. And so what I want you to do is realize God has given the body gifts, and those gifts are different for everybody. And those gifts are grace gifts, not for us to say, look at me, I have this gift, but for us to say, look at my gift. How can I go out and make the contribution that God is calling me to make? Wherever that may be, you need to be influencing the marketplace. And so I want to challenge you. You may be a pastor listening to this. You may be an evangelist. You may be a teacher, or you may be a CEO, or you could be the janitor. You could be the mom or the father. I want you to take time today to affirm someone's calling in the marketplace. I want you to go out and affirm that. This is my challenge for you, to go out and make that impact. Affirm people. And I'll see you in the next episode. If this blessed you, like it, share it, subscribe, as well as leave some feedback and let me know how this is making an impact on you. God bless you and God keep you. And let's go out and make an impact.